Are you experiencing identity meltdown? Are there times in your life lately in which you realize you don't recognize yourself anymore? Like you have somehow morphed into someone quite different from who you've always been before? And maybe sometimes not even someone you especially like that much? If you've known you're on a path of ascension into a higher frequency, you have probably realized that in this process of transformation, your sense of who you are would likely be changing in certain ways. Maybe you thought you'd be happier, clearer, freer. You'd become more spiritually awake and would no longer be suffering emotionally so much. You probably assumed the process in shifting into this higher version of yourself would involve some healing and awakening to new aspects of yourself. But did you realize how difficult this process was going to be? How much loss was going to be involved? How much change would occur in your relationships and your work life? Or how much healing of unhealthy patterns you'd have to do? And did you realize that your whole sense of who you thought you were was going to change so much? Ascension is harder than we expected. It does seem as if the ascension process is demanding huge changes to take place, not only in our lives and what we now have to get used to, but also in how we actually experience ourselves as a conscious being, how we experience our very identity. For some, this has been a somewhat incremental process of letting go of certain ideas of who they think they are and seeing how they've wrapped their identity around particular things they do, roles they play, or relationships they've been in. And they have gradually come to the realization they are no longer involved in those activities or relationships, and so they're kind of left at this point without a familiar sense of identity. For others, the process of this identity loss is rather sudden, with perhaps multiple roles and relationships being yanked out from under them within a very short period of time. And this feels like an actual meltdown process, in which they're left bereft in a rather brutal way of any familiar sense of identity. Either way this may happen, it can leave you in a state of disorientation, anxiety, and despair. It's one thing to have parts of your life taken away from you, but it's another when you feel like your very identity is disappearing, and you can hardly relate to who you've become. A true shift in identity is necessary. And yet, this does seem like a type of experience we all have to go through, in one way or another, as we make the truly momentous leap into the substantially higher frequency known as 5D. 5D is a dimension that is so different from the one we've been living in. It makes sense that we would have to somehow greatly transform ourselves in order to be able to vibrate at the much higher frequency of this new dimension. It appears we are needing to fully discover who we are, beyond all our human personality ideas of who we are based on what we have accomplished in life, how spiritually awake we've become, what relationships we've been involved in, and even all that we have conscientiously healed. Although all these things have been very important thus far on our ascension path through the third and fourth dimensions, it is apparently now necessary to put all these kinds of ideas about who we are aside. Instead, we need to begin exploring how to directly experience ourselves as our true spiritual essence, whatever we might understand this to be: luminous light, pure love, clear consciousness, the Aya presence, spirit, God, source, or however else we might describe it. It seems this must be the identity we will essentially be experiencing on a constant basis when living in the fifth dimension. So it makes sense that we are now in the process of having to let go of all our old ideas of who we've always thought ourselves to be and begin exploring our much deeper identity. State of suspension. But this shift is obviously a process. It's huge. It takes time. And what you may be discovering at this point is that not only are you not recognizing who you are also finding yourself in a type of uncomfortable suspension. Even though you may have momentary experiences of your new 5D identity, it hasn't yet completely come on board. There's just a sense of an unfamiliar emptiness that fills you. For much of the time, it might feel as if there's also nothing much happening in your life that engages you anymore. Things your old identity would have jumped into with enthusiasm no longer interest you. Activities and friends you used to enjoy no longer have a draw. You're somehow sitting in the 5D waiting room, waiting for your new self to be ready to greet you. Identity meltdown. If you can relate to any of this, you might enjoy listening to my discussion of what I'm calling identity meltdown, and what I suggest doing to assist you through this strange, sometimes intriguing, and often baffling process of losing your identity. Greetings, I am Mira from the Pleiadian High Council. I greet you with all the love in my heart today and send you joyful, harmonious energies. You are going through a pivotal point in the ascension process. Yes, everything is being stirred up within you, around you and everywhere. It is time for listening within and around you. Your awareness levels have been upgraded. Your bodies are being upgraded. Your sensitivities have expanded significantly. Time as you used to know it is no longer. Attempting to adhere to the old timeline is futile. Hanging on to the past is irrelevant. This is about moving into the future and finding out who you really are and becoming your future self. Special accommodations have been made for you so that you can adjust and adapt into these new energies. We will always take care of you and assure you that you are in our loving hands. Please know this is the time to let go and to know that reverting back to the past is no longer an option. It is over, and you are speeding into the new. The past is going to be recreated as each of you awaken into the profound awareness of who you really are as a masterful divine being. Your guides, teachers, masters, star beings, and galactic friends are all around you. If you breathe deeply, you will be able to feel their presence. You are not lightweights in this process, you are the light. We can find you anywhere, and many of you are everywhere. Right now, most of you are only partly in your physical body. You are on the earth, just enough to fulfill your obligations. This is the transition time. You know how strange it feels right now. Everything is different. You are in the crux of the Great Awakening. Miracles after miracles will surround you. Whatever you need, you will have. Most importantly, you have each other, so this is a time of gathering. The ground crew are coming together in groups, whether it is in a physical or in the online version. With each new step you take and new thought, the new version of you becomes more manifest. As the takedown of the dark occurs and the truth comes out, you become your magnificent self. You are stepping into the truth of who you are and what you came to the planet to do. We recommend you reach out to each other. Give each other a hand. Keep your heart open. Continue listening within to what you are guided to say and do. Stay away from fear and help others to do the same. This is the perfect moment for you to reveal your powerful light. This is ignition time to light the fire of creation within and change the planet. It is your purpose, and you are being called into action. You have strength in the light. Remember who you are, ground crew. We rely on you. The Earth Council is pleased to be in partnership with you. Fly on, dear ones. Spread your forgotten wings and do what you know to do. Everything is now being revealed. You will find your place where you are needed, and you will do what is necessary. I am Mira, and I love you dearly.